It's 2 a.m. and you receive a phone call in the middle of the night. You pick up your phone and you're in bed with your wife, your son's away at college, and you hear a police officer on the other end. They tell you that the car that is registered to your name has been found abandoned on a lonely road in the small town of Luling, Texas, in Caldwell County. This car is driven by your son, who is away at college. It has been found abandoned, and your son is nowhere to be found. Imagine that phone call. It is every parent's worst nightmare. This is the case of Jason Landry, the missing college Texas State student. And that is what we're going to talk about today. Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Jill. Thank you for clicking on my video. Thank you for watching my other video if you watched it. It was about the Candyman. And this is going to be my second video here on YouTube, filming with my phone. I did have some kinks in the last video, but I'm pretty happy that I finally got it up. Still working with my phone here. I haven't invested in a camera yet. But today's video is going to be about missing Texas State student Jason Landry and the weird things that happen and are still happening. This is a case that is having updates by the day. So it's one that is probably going to have a part 1, a part 2, hopefully a part 3, and hopefully finally, they're going to solve it or they're going to find him. So bear with me on this one, and we're going to get into today's video. I hope that you will stick around, like and subscribe my videos, and let's get into it. So Jason Landry had gone to Texas State the summer of 2020. He had gone there and was beginning his college career there. He had decided to go to college. I think he wanted to be part of the prestigious program of, audio, sound, movie making type thing. And they had that there. So he was working on getting into that program. So at 21 years of age, he left and moved to San Marcos, Texas, where he went to college at Texas State. This was during COVID, so I believe he was doing a lot of online schooling. So he did have an apartment there, and he did have roommates. I haven't been able to find out a lot about that situation, but he did have a job as well when he was there. I've done some digging on that. Couldn't find out a whole lot about that even. So this is what happened the night that he went missing. It was the evening of December 13th, 2020. He was chatting on FaceTime with one of his friends from his hometown of Missouri City. Missouri City is about 2.5 hours to 3 hour drive from San Marcos, Texas, where he was in college. He was on FaceTime with his friend doing some green, and his friend remembers kind of chuckling because Jason was very feeling really good right about then. And he said he taped some of the phone call or, videoed, screenshot, whatever you do with the FaceTime. And he was going to save it because he thought Jason may get a kick out of it later or may not remember. So he had done that, and he was going to get in his car and he was going to drive home. But he was going to his friend's house first to play video games, and then he would go to his parents' house, I'm assuming the next day, to spend Christmas holidays with his parents. So he ended that phone call, and he did get in his car and began to drive home. He opened on his phone his Waze app, and Waze is a navigation system that you can use to drive home. And a lot of people were saying, well, why did he need a navigation system? It was only a 2.5 to 3 hour drive. Well, I used Waze because I was curious about this navigation system. It is different from a lot of navigation systems because it is a real-time navigation system, meaning that it shows you real-time accidents or stalled out cars or if there's a police officer ahead. It's got a lot of added features to it. And we'll get into that later at the end when I tell you kind of what I think may have happened to Jason. So we'll just leave it at that. But it does help later in the case with tracking his digital footprint. So he turns on Waze, and he goes about his Waze route. We know this. So he would be driving. They also know that he did end the Waze route at some point in his drive. About 30 minutes into his drive, he goes into a small little city of Luling, Texas. That's about a 30-minute drive from San Marcos where he left. So about 30 minutes into his drive, he pulls into an intersection with his Waze app and turns off Waze because he had gotten a Snapchat. So he opens his Snapchat. Then is where we lose his digital footprint. Basically, digital footprint, if you don't know what that is the data that your phone is collecting from you. It stops. Okay, he's not on Waze, he's not on Snapchat, he's not on the phone. That's it, it drops. This is where something happened. We don't know what. We just are kind of left with these pieces and they need to be put together. So here's where it gets weird. Really, really weird. And there's a lot of unanswered questions. A lot of assumptions are made. A lot. Allegedly, a lot of things. Okay, so you remember I was telling you about his dad, Kent Landry, that had received that phone call in the middle of the night? Well, Kent Landry gets up, he gets dressed, and he gets in his car, and he goes straight to the scene where police had told him that his son's car was found. He gets there to find no one there. Can you imagine? Not a police officer, not an ambulance, not a fireman, no one. Well, Kent Landry was a retired defense attorney. He said he just couldn't believe it. You know, his son is missing and no one's there. So he proceeds to go ahead and process the scene himself. He would walk and retrieve his son's belongings that were strewed across this very dark road. I cannot even imagine. How horrible. How very terrible. That should not have happened. Nevertheless, he starts looking at the scene of his son's disappearance and he discovers his shoes, his socks, his underwear, his slides, his wristwatch, his dead betta fish. He was bringing his fish with him. He wasn't running away. Can we just go ahead and throw that theory out there that it's probably not true? Because there was a theory saying that he was running away to start a new life. He's bringing his betta fish with him. Anyway, people say a lot of things. He has his gaming equipment in his backpack. He has a small amount of usable green in a pill bottle. He takes videos and pictures of the scene himself. Now, later on, remember I told you recently, police body cam footage would be released. And you can see the police officers undo the pill bottle. And they would say, well, what do we have here? And they look at it and they go, yep, it's a college student. I bet it's just a college student. they would kind of be very dismissive, and that's kind of hurtful, especially if that's your baby out there. Anyway, his things were scattered about 900 feet from the car. So the father would turn in the clothes, and the police would say they found a single drop of blood on the underwear. It was unusually cold for Texas that night. It was about 24 degrees outside, which is very cold for Texas, that's for sure. So his dad knew that, wherever my son is, he needs these clothes. And where is he? I mean, because my baby's cold. And wherever he's at, he's cold. I know he's cold. So, and he would also talk about how he noticed Jason's SpongeBob socks and how his son would collect very unusual, silly socks, and, just kind of telling and, letting us know that his son is, human, and that he saw those socks and it was like, oh, that's my baby's socks. I know those socks. It's really sad, y'all. Okay, so to make matters worse, I told you that they towed the car away. I'm not sure if I told you that, but they did. They just towed the car away. They didn't check the car. They didn't process the car. They didn't look in the car. They said that the driver's side door was locked. So I'm assuming they just shut the passenger side door, towed the car. Wait, no, they put the car in neutral, then towed the car. Okay, so Kent Landry goes to the impound lot and asks his wife to try and trace the phone. So they trace the phone to where it is, and it is inside his son's car. So he goes inside the car, and the phone is in between the seat and the console. So Kent Landry now has his son's phone. To make him feel even worse, his son is missing, and he doesn't have any clothes or his phone on him. So he has his phone now. That's how they get his digital footprint and his Snapchat and what he was using and all of that business. So then they kind of come up with a timeline with his digital footprint. They come up with how he was using Waze, where he stopped using Waze, and all of that, which kind of gave them the timeline of the area where he was and how he came upon this salt flat road and how his car was there. So they put together kind of a little bit of a timeline. So I'm going to read to you kind of the timeline, and I'll pop up a little map that people have put together. There's been a lot of people wanting to help solve this case for this family, but there hasn't been a lot of law enforcement wanting to help solve this case. Well, not a lot of help from Caldwell County, which is who was in charge of this case for a long, long time. They kind of put a really sloppy bow on the case, and I'll tell you about that at the end. But this is kind of the timeline. So 10:55 p.m., remember I told you he left pretty late at night. He leaves his apartment headed toward Missouri City, which is about 2.5, 3 hour drive. Jason has his Waze app. He gets on Highway 80 and he goes through San Marcos, which is where his college is. He drives till 11:11 and he is in Martindale, Texas. He continues on Highway 80. Around 11:15, he passes over Highway 130 and continues on Highway 80. At 11:24, Jason enters the little city of Luling, Texas, and stays on Highway 80. Around 11:24, he stops using Waze and he opens his Snapchat feature, And he closes Waze and opens Snapchat. And this is at an intersection. He, at that intersection, he should have made, they say he should have made a right at the intersection, but he did not. He continued going straight. He went straight, they believe, and that's on a Spruce Street, which turns in to Salt Flat Road. This is where the police say that he got onto Salt Flat Road, and he overcorrected on Salt Flat Road, spinning his car some way into a tree backwards, busting out the back of his glass. They then say that there were some skid marks on the road. They say were from a single vehicle accident. They say that Jason was, he overcorrected in the gravel road, got into an accident because there were skid marks. He then left his vehicle in 24-degree weather. He stripped his clothes off and he disappeared. They say it looks like he left the vehicle voluntarily, took his clothes off from a mental breakdown or narcotics, and that it is ruled out, ruled out a crime scene based on his social media accounts and evidence found at the crime scene. Well, that's not okay. I need some more from them. I need something more because they didn't really collect any evidence at the crime scene. His father collected the evidence at the crime scene. And how are you going to rule out any crime when you don't even know where he is? You don't even know where he is. So you can't rule out a crime scene when you're basing it off of Snapchat and you're basing it off of narcotics that you found that you found in his backpack. And there's no Jason. Like, how are you rolling this out? I'm so frustrated. I'm so frustrated for the parents, for his siblings, for his friends. It's very frustrating. And this family is not buying it. And I do not blame them. Where is their son? If this was an accident, where is he? With an accident, maybe he did hit his head. He got in an accident, he hit his head, and maybe he had some trauma. Maybe he was. Okay, so I watched recently, his father was interviewed on a program, and he was walking this road, and it was 10 months later when this interview took place. And he said, as he's walking in the road, he still finds pieces of his son's vehicle on this road. Still. That is just shocking. Do your job. Do your job. Please, Caldwell County. Do your job. Go out there. Look harder. Do something. Don't just say that it's solved, because it's not. So this poor family, this poor dad and mother and everybody, they go ahead and they hire a private investigator. His name was Abel Pena, and he is working pro bono for this family. They hired him November 12th of 2021. He has come out and said that he believes that Jason was not alone. He thinks there is a second or possibly a third party involved in this. He was asking for the tower dump. What I told you was that geofence of all the cell phone information that was in that area around the time. So maybe he can possibly determine who was nearby or in the area when Jason was in that area, so they can, maybe get some leads or talk to some people about it. Maybe this can also prove that there was a crime committed. They're trying to put some circumstantial evidence together to get possibly a search warrant. Other than that, I mean, they've come out and they've said, yes, things weren't done appropriately. They should have searched the vehicle. Any type of DNA or preserving DNA at this point is long gone. They've missed that window. And they're working with Texar, and they're helping to raise funds for his search. They're trying to get that geofence warrant. They have a petition to, it's called Justice for Jason Landry on change.org. Go sign it. Maybe they can get this tower dump or this geofence warrant. I had looked into a lot of different things. I looked into the Waze app specifically because I had noticed on the Waze app there is a gaming option to the Waze app where it's kind of like a game part of it, where you can level up and you get like your little icon on a Waze app, and it's present to other Waze users. So when I had gotten it at the time, like I was a little Santa, and when I used it, I could see the other people on the street that were using Waze and what their little person was. So as I'm driving to San Antonio, like I see the other Waze users, and I thought that was kind of weird. And then I looked into it a little more, and you can actually friend people who are other Waze users and become their friends, and you can text back and forth. And for example, if there's a couple of Waze users in front of me and I'm in traffic and they're ahead of me, I can text them, okay, what's going on up there? You're further than me. Is that a wreck? What's going on? And they can text me back. Or you can have meetups with other Waze users. There's also a rideshare program where you can be a ride, or you can be ride sharing with someone, and you do a meetup and you ride share with them. I don't know. It's something. I'm not sure if it's anything related to this case, but it could be, because he was off of his route. He did open Snapchat. I don't know. Just a thought. I'm not really sure what happened. I'm thinking when I was driving down this road, I was like, maybe he did try and turn around. He noticed he was off his route. Maybe tried to turn around, wrecked his car. Okay, so maybe Jason was in a wreck that night, and maybe he did hit his head. Maybe he did stumble out of his car and it was freezing. Maybe he was on substance and he kind of got disillusioned and stumbled off into the night. But still, I mean, you haven't really answered the question of where is he? Okay, so disclosure, yeah, I put my hair up, and in fashion of me filming, my phone did not record the ending of my video for the second time. Even though I got a new phone, it's still not recording. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up again like I had to do the second video. Okay, as I dug a little deeper, I mean, there's a whole Facebook account devoted to Jason Landry. It's run by his parents and friends and people just wondering what really happened to this young man. I keep getting on the website and everybody's posting their theories. And yes, he did have roommates in San Marcos. Yes, he did have a job. He had an ex-girlfriend that I believe he spoke with on the phone. They were friendly. There's not a lot of detail about his job or his roommates. I couldn't find a whole lot about that. So I had to kind of dig and draw my own conclusions about things. I did question that Waze app and that ride share that they had. Being that Jason was a gamer, I did kind of look into the gaming aspect of Waze. I did wonder if perhaps he did maybe do a ride share with Waze, or did he do a meetup with somebody he had met on Waze as he was driving home. I also wondered if maybe one of his friends was following him, or maybe he was following one of them and he got into a wreck and they left him there. Another thing I had wondered if maybe he did not make the turn he was supposed to on Waze. And it's really easy because like I did drive the road because you know me. Like I said, I visit these sites. I mean, I live in Houston. So we had taken a trip to San Antonio shortly after Christmas. And on the way home, we drove to Salt Flat Road. I did look at the road. It's a very small, narrow gravel road. One that I felt it was a little hard for two vehicles to go down. But I drove down the road. I can imagine it being at night. When I went, it wasn't at night. It was during the day. But there were homes around it. It wasn't completely desolate. There were homes within walking distance. So then I was thinking, you know, what if he did walk to a house? What if he did disrobe? I can't think of why he would, unless he hit his head. And did he knock on the wrong door, possibly, and somebody maybe harm him or do something to him and then quickly cover it up? Or, you know, there's just so many possibilities, but there's a lot of assumptions out there, and there's just so many things that could possibly have happened to him. But still, I come back to the same question. Where is he? Where is he? If he's alive, where is he? If he's deceased, where is he? These parents deserve answers. I have lived the nightmare of getting a phone call like that. I have endured that pain. I have at least had a place that I could memorialize for my daughter that I lost. They need that place. They need a place to memorialize for their son if he is no longer here. They deserve that. They are grieving their son because he's not here, but they're still having unanswered questions. They can't lay their son to rest. You know, they have gone on notes saying that they think their son is no longer with us. But above everything else, they deserve to know, and then they deserve to memorialize a place for themselves and the family to mourn for their son. So I would really like it if you would share this video. Get this news out. I don't think a lot of people even know about this or understand how the police have treated this case. I just heard recently, a few days ago, that this has gone to be a cold case. And it has gone to the cold case division, which it's, you know, a little over a year. But the Caldwell County, they're not doing anything else for this case. They're ruling it an accident without a body. They're ruling it an accident, like I said, based on social media and that there was substance present. So now they're going to look at it as a cold case. And hopefully there may get some new answers, talk to some people, get some different perspectives on it. So I hope that you will share this case for me. It would really mean a lot. I really want some closure for these parents. I hope that you have a great day, and I hope and pray that these parents get some answers. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that it gave you, something to think about. I hope that you will like, I hope that you will subscribe, and I hope you will share it. I will be coming out with new videos every week. They will be on various topics, kind of along the same thing as true crime, solved mysteries, unsolved mysteries. I'm going to give you my opinion at the end of each video. I will be doing some story times. Those will usually be based for grown adult story times. But I'm really, really grateful that you stuck around, and listen to my video. I hope that you will like and subscribe. It helps my channel grow. and share my videos. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon. Bye.